Welcome back to the AAA MF YouTube channel. Today I've flown to Zurich in Switzerland to film what I think is an absolute bargain supercar, the Ferrari 348 Spider. If you've noticed recently, prices of V8 Ferraris have been going up in price, especially manual gearboxes. Everyone wants the manual gearbox. The 355 with a manual gearbox is now £160,000. So I thought, why don't we look at the 348, which has the same gated gearbox and a very similar V8 engine, but in the UK, these are between 60,000 and 80,000. So still relatively affordable. What makes this really special is this was the last car to be produced alongside the F40 when Enzo Ferrari was still alive. And this car was designed by Pininfarina, and they have a little plaque here to let you know it was designed by them. Why don't we take it out and see what it's like? So we got really lucky with the weather. We're about 20 minutes away from Zurich, and driving in Switzerland is just the best place. You have to be careful of speed limits though, they're quite strict here. So the weather's nice. What car would you choose to drive Swiss country roads? Does it get much better than a Ferrari with the roof down and a manual gearbox? That's what I'm asking myself today. So this was quite a step up for Ferrari because it was the first Spider that they brought out since the Daytona. The Daytona was a very limited edition convertible, and that was a front engine V12. This is a very, very different car. This is a mid-engine V8. So it was really breaking new ground for Ferrari. And I just think it looks fabulous. If you're spending 60 to 80,000 pounds on a supercar, what could you possibly buy that looks as good as this, that has the Ferrari pedigree? You could buy a Porsche 981 Spider, 718 Spider, great cars. I've owned both. Lovely engine, flat six engine from Porsche, but they don't look like a Ferrari. This car is just beautiful. To be honest, every Ferrari looks beautiful. Doesn't matter whether they're 10 years old, 20 years old, they just stand the test of time. And no one makes manual gearboxes anymore. Ferrari don't, Lamborghini don't. What's it like to drive? The steering is not sharp, but then, you know, you wouldn't expect that with a car from 1994. I think that's the only real downside though of owning an older car, because steering technology has improved massively over the years. I love the fact that it's a naturally aspirated V8, which means you can wind it up. It feels small and agile though. We're going around some tight hairpins in the mountains here, and it feels nice. It feels nice. You would expect it to be a little bit louder. The engine, it's got a nice fruity sound to it, but it's not that lovely scream that you get from the 355 engine and the Challenge Stradale engine, which had 5 valves per cylinder. But it's very nice using a gated manual gearbox. Very nice indeed. So we're going to try and wind the car up a bit now. It goes all the way up to 7,500 RPM. I've got used to the car now. So you have to really have your hands on the steering wheel at all times, because it's not power assisted, but it's fine, you know, it's fine. Here we go. 7,500. Wow. Nice. It's only got 320 brake horsepower, but you don't really need more than that, especially in a classic Ferrari. It's got enough power. It's lovely when that gearbox clunks into gear. It's really nice. And you look behind you in the mirror and there's nothing obscuring your view. Nice. How can you go wrong with a Ferrari V8 and having the roof down? So it does sound good when you wind it up. It sounds good. Just not as good as a 355. And the thing I like the most really about this car is the looks. I just love that clean, lovely shape. And I love using a manual gearbox. It's really nice. When I test drove the Testarossa, I found that quite hard, that gearbox. I'm getting used to it now. So the car that preceded this was the 328 GTS. Obviously, they never did a convertible version of that car, and that car was a lot less powerful than this. I think this now gives you decent supercar power, 320 PS. Obviously, most hot hatchbacks these days can reach that kind of power, but hot hatchbacks don't have a manual gearbox like this with a gate, an open gate, and they don't have a lovely V8. And most hot hatchbacks now are either turbocharged, or they're hybrid, or they're fully electric, and that's the way the world is going. Cars like this, with no driver aids, no power steering, manual gearbox, and a naturally aspirated engine, are from a time long gone, and people just don't make those kinds of cars anymore. The last car that I had that I really loved, that was naturally aspirated, apart from my new 911, was my GT4 RS. And that car was incredible, but it wasn't available with a manual gearbox. And the Spider RS, the same. No manual gearbox offered with that car. So this is pretty rare to get. These days, if you want a manual gearbox, really you're looking at Porsche, because Ferrari and Lamborghini don't make manual gearboxes anymore. And not many of their models either are naturally aspirated. The recent SP3 Daytona has a V12 naturally aspirated engine, but the 296 GTS is hybrid, the SF90 is hybrid, and the new F8 hypercar is hybrid. So I can't see these cars ever going out of fashion. Obviously not easy to find a really good one because they stay with collectors for a long time. And when we looked on piston heads, all I could find was a few high mileage cars. So it might be difficult to find a really good one of these. What a lovely car. So nice changing through an open gated gearbox. Oh, I love it. I think if you want this kind of driving experience, you're probably looking at a Lamborghini Gallardo with a manual gearbox, because they did make a Spider version of that as well with a V10 engine. So I would think that that's really the closest thing you could get to this. I would imagine that they're also hard to find good examples. So we're now gonna head back to base, give you my final thoughts as I continue driving along chasing a V12 Jaguar XJS with the roof down. Before I give my final thoughts on this beautiful Ferrari 348 Spider, thank you to Magnitude Finance for sponsoring this video. If you live in the UK and you need car finance, go onto their website to work out your monthly repayments. I have used them for my Honda NSX and my 911 ST. Now on to the 348 Spider. In my opinion, one of the best looking supercars of all time. I love the fact that it has a completely clean rear as opposed to later cars which had more of a Targa style, like the 458 Speciale, Aperta and so on. This car looks really clean, beautiful, and I love the side strakes reminiscent of the Testarossa. It looks mean, it looks purposeful, it looks timeless. I love, love, love the design. It's not as loud as a 355 because the 355 had 5 valves per cylinder and this had 4 valves per cylinder, so it doesn't shriek like a 355. But £100,000 difference definitely makes this worth consideration. I absolutely love it. It's old school Ferrari, a manual gated gearbox. If you want something now that's manual, you cannot buy Ferrari anymore. So in my opinion, this is a timeless classic, and I think over time we'll only appreciate. How much, we don't know, but the manual 355s have already gone over £100,000, so who knows what's going to happen. But I love this car. Definitely worth buying one with full Ferrari service history. Make sure it's a clean car before you buy it, because maintenance costs can be high on these cars. Thanks for watching. As you know, we're in Switzerland today, and the next video coming up is going to be something very, very cool, a Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport. So please subscribe and press the notification bell so you get all of our videos as soon as they come out.